Hi, it's Edward, back with another video. Please take a moment to click the thumbs up button below and consider subscribing to the channel. Please also share this video with your friends. Thank you for your support. Today, I read several financial news articles. I've included links to the articles in the description below. I encourage you to read the articles to support the authors and news sources. As a private American citizen, I'd like to report and share my transformative thoughts through commentary regarding small sections of these articles that are of public interest. Today, I read an article on foxbusiness.com written by Nora Colomer titled, "Americans Will Pay $6.12 billion in penalties for early 401k withdrawals survey." According to the author, a Bank of America report said that the number of 401k participants accessing their retirement savings early has increased 27% since the beginning of this year. I just had to share this story with you today because, in my opinion, this provides us with some insight into what is happening here in America. I really have to wonder how many of these people have no emergency savings and they are in a situation where they need to withdraw funds from their 401k. I suspect this is the case for some of these people. The author indicates the most common reason why workers withdraw funds from their plans early is because of a job change. A 2023 study showed that 41% of 401k account holders withdrew at least some funds from their accounts when changing jobs instead of completing a rollover into an IRA or a new 401k plan. Here are my thoughts. When you switch jobs, new paychecks don't start coming in for a while. Sometimes there is a significant lag in time between the interview and the job offer. Even once you are offered the job, you often don't start the same day. There may be a lag for the company to complete background checks and reference checks. I suspect some people don't have the money to pay all of their bills until they start getting paychecks from their new job. Therefore, they are tapping their 401k early. In my opinion, this is foolish because not only are you paying a 10% early withdrawal fee before the age of 59 and a half, but you are also sacrificing your future financial security by withdrawing these funds. If I was between jobs and needed money that badly, I would find whatever way possible to earn some extra money. If I had to mow lawns or work fast food, I would do that instead of sacrificing my future financial security by withdrawing money from my 401k. Here's the most disturbing part of this article. According to the author, the survey showed most of those cashing out withdraw the entirety of their 401k balance. My jaw dropped when I read that. I feel bad for these people who are potentially sacrificing their retirement in the future by doing this. I'm curious if you know anyone who has cashed out his or her 401k after leaving a job. If so, tell me about it in the comment section below. I read an interesting article today on Yahoo Finance put out by Business Insider and written by Phil Rosen titled, "The Fed has prolonged an unhealthy codependence with markets and it threatens financial stability," Mohamed El-Arian says. The author referenced a Bloomberg column where Mohamed said the Fed should have stepped out of the limelight as policy neared peak restrictiveness. But instead, it cemented its leading role in the narrative of markets by spurring an early Santa Claus rally and raising expectations for rate cuts. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have to agree with what he said. When I listened to Jerome Powell speak, I had to wonder who was possibly pressuring him to juice the markets and for what reason. I know the Fed is supposed to be independent, but I really had to wonder if there were political forces at play behind the scenes. Either that, or does the Fed know something about the economy that we don't that has frightened them? Getting back to the article, the author goes on to quote Mohammed's most powerful statement in my opinion. He said, and I'll quote, "The prolongation, yet again, of an unhealthy codependency between a Fed which is inclined to be dovish and overly talkative and markets which too often drift into being single-issue focused risks evolving in a manner that goes beyond abnormal. It increasingly threatens the economic well-being of current and future generations, as well as overall financial stability." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I found this statement to be very interesting. I know many of you may have watched your investment accounts rise in value after Jerome Powell spoke recently, so some of you may be happy that the Fed may pivot in 2024. I worry the Fed may be blowing a bigger bubble, and at some point in the future, a recession could be quite painful. Some argue we are in a new reality and there will be no recession. The markets are going to keep going up forever and the Dow will hit 50,000 soon. However, there are others who think the inverted yield curve is predicting a recession. When the 10-year falls below the 2-year, it has predicted every recession since 1955, with the exception of 1966. Maybe we will avoid a recession, but I personally doubt it. I read some of the comments beneath this article, and I found some of them to be very interesting. I'll share some of these comments with you. One commenter said, "If you ever doubted the Fed works for Wall Street, you now have proof." Another commenter said the Fed has the alleged function of financial stability. It would make the most sense to have an interest rate that does not change from meeting to meeting and is high enough to discourage an asset bubble. Historically, that interest rate range has been 5% to 8%. Whatever they are doing now, it is not in the name of financial stability. The last comment that I'll share with you comes from someone who provides some possible motives relating to Muhammad's point of view. This commenter said he was CEO of PIMCO, the largest bond fund manager, and now advises Alliance that owns PIMCO. So he's a bond guy that loves high interest rates. So of course he'd say this, and not the first time he's pushed his bond agenda. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. There is a company that may shed some light onto what may happen in the future with our economy. I read an article today on Yahoo Finance put out by CNN and written by Nathaniel Meyersohn, titled, "Nike says it will cut $2 billion in costs in a major warning for consumers." According to the author, Nike, a bellwether for the global economy, sounded a warning sign Thursday as the sneaker giant sees consumers becoming more cautious. Nike slashed its revenue outlook for the year and announced cost cuts amid growing concerns that consumers are slowing their spending around the world. The company said it's looking for as much as $2 billion in cost savings in the next 3 years, which includes laying off employees. Shares of Nike tumbled as much as 14% Friday. Here are my thoughts. This could be an ominous sign for what is to come. Keep in mind there are consumers who will spend every last penny to be decked out in their Nike gear. Some who don't even have 2 pennies to rub together will use credit to buy their Nike gear. I know some of you may find this hard to believe, but there are Americans who would never think of leaving the house with anything less than their Nike shoes on. If Nike is adjusting their revenue outlook for the year, this may point to some potential trouble ahead in the economy. Here is the most interesting part of this article. The author said consumers are switching their behavior, passing up discretionary purchases like expensive sneakers and athletic wear for basics and experiences like concerts and travel. Well, I'm glad some everyday Americans have their financial priorities straight, since they are passing up discretionary purchases for Nike gear so they can buy concert tickets. What has the world come to? I just don't get it. I think I am just getting too old and out of touch. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. While there are some consumers who may be foregoing Nike purchases, there are others who are shopping to deal with stress. I read an article today on Yahoo Finance put out by Benzinga and written by Aditi Ganguly, titled, "From Scrolling to Shopping, Americans Embrace Retail Therapy to Combat Stress." The author of this article references Courtney Alev, Credit Karma's consumer financial advocate, who said, "Much like doom scrolling, we're seeing people mindlessly shop to soothe concerns about the economy and foreign affairs, which could take a toll on their financial well-being." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hate to hear about people mindlessly shopping to soothe their concerns about the economy and foreign affairs. I suspect these aren't the only 2 reasons people are shopping and spending money to feel better. I am sure there are people who feel lonely during the holidays, feel unhappy about their job or financial situation, are struggling with health problems, or perhaps they are having relationship problems. Some people feel better when they buy something new. Unfortunately, that temporary relief is short-lived. The debt often remains after the purchase. In some cases, this debt can make someone's life even more difficult down the road. There is a lot of debt here in America, and there are a lot of Americans who are struggling to afford life. To my point, the author of this article referenced data from a recent Intuit Credit Karma study that revealed roughly 32% of Americans have taken on additional debt. Most of the U.S. population, 96%, is concerned about the state of the economy, with roughly 56% living paycheck to paycheck and 42% struggling to keep up with the rising food prices. Approximately 48% of Americans are concerned about not having sufficient funds to afford rent, food, clothing, and other necessities amid the surging cost of living. Approximately 22% of people don't have any savings whatsoever, and 52% have less than $2,000 in their emergency funds. The study also revealed that the overall savings rate has gone down significantly over the past 6 months, as 47% of Americans stated their savings fund has declined in the second half of the year. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this data is very troubling to me. Let me explain why. If Americans are in this kind of shape financially right now, how in the world are some of these people going to weather the storm of a recession if and when it comes? I know there are plenty of economists and news people who love to report about a soft landing. Maybe we will see a soft landing, but I want you to consider this. Back on February 15th, 2007, an article was published by the New York Times and written by Edmund L. Andrews, titled "Fed Chairman Projects Soft Landing for U.S. Economy," Business International Herald Tribune. I'll include a link to this article in the description below so you can read it. According to the author of that old article, Bernanke expressed a broad satisfaction that the nation remains on a track for a soft landing, a modest slowdown in growth that would reduce upward pressure on prices without aggravating unemployment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we all know what happened approximately a year later in 2008. We experienced the Great Financial Crisis, and unemployment eventually spiked to around 10% in October of 2009. More than 15 million people were unemployed. I'm going to stop right here and let you ponder this history and how it could possibly parallel what we are hearing today about a soft landing. Please understand, I'm not predicting another great financial crisis. I just find the parallels between 2007 and today to be quite interesting. I encourage you to read this old article from 2007. Please keep in mind that everything in this video is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. Check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.